Welcome to this video. Today we will come to a very good and interesting question. What's the most hauntingly beautiful song you've ever heard? After just one day, this question received more than 8,900 answers from all over the world. Below I will quote some of the best answers I read. Let's get started. Moonlight Sonata. Thank you to my Nana for instilling a love of classical music in me, because she would play this on the upright piano for me when I was a little kid. It's such a beautiful, bittersweet piece, which always reminds me of her and our moments together. My mom sometimes played this on the upright after we went to bed and it'd echo through the entire house. We'd all sneak down the hallway silently watching her until she finished and noticed we were there. It was the only time she didn't get mad at us for being out of bed. Debussy's Clair de Lune. It makes me teary-eyed every time. Whenever I listen to this I always imagine what it must have been like to hear this played originally. No Spotify, no vinyl, no tape recording etc. Just hearing this unbelievably beautiful piece of music and probably never able to listen to it ever again. We are truly privileged to have the conveniences we do now. It's never too late to learn to play the piano yourself. Then you, too, can hear a live performance that will never be repeated again anytime you want. Came to search for this. I cry every time I hear it. It's incredibly nostalgic. The night we met, Lord Huron. This song breaks my heart. We got in the car after signing our divorce papers and this song was playing when the car started. We just sobbed uncontrollably together. It's been some years now and I'm in a much better place, but I still won't listen to it. Damn bro, now you got me crying about your divorce. Like my own didn't suck bad enough. Glad to hear you're in a better place, man. Whenever I hear a guy casually say, I'm divorced, I hear it as, my soul got crushed and I died 1,000 deaths. The theme music in the movie Arrival, it's played a lot in the movie, and it's so haunting. Pulls at the heartstrings for sure. In the Nature of Daylight, by Max Richter. Anything that guy wrote can be listed on here. When you realize it's not the past. The whole movie is brilliant. People watched it because it was an aliens coming to Earth movie, but it's a different kind of movie. It makes you think. Now one of my favorites without a doubt. I get sucked in every time in the memory scenes. The main score from Schindler's List. John Williams really knows how to wake up the emotions in those who watch films he's scored. Most of his scores are hauntingly beautiful. I love the story of Spielberg hiring Williams for the job. Williams was shown a print of the film and didn't know if he was up to the task. He said to Spielberg, "You need a better composer than I am for this film." Spielberg responded, "I know. But they're all dead." Quite the backhanded compliment. Williams knocked it out of the park with that gorgeous, bittersweet score. I always thought that the two of them had such a good relationship that Williams must have taken it for the compliment it was, that he was the greatest living composer, the same way he had complimented his friend by saying the film was so great he wasn't worthy of scoring it. Once you have watched and listened to Roberta Flack singing, "The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face," that will do you for a lifetime. I should have searched for your comment before I posted mine, but I said almost the same thing. I don't have words to describe its beauty. It's like a painting, the way she uses negative space. I also love Jessie by her, and wish more people knew it. It's heartbreaking. Edit. I made myself sad looking at the lyrics and just learned at this grand old age of 47 that Jessie was written by Janice Ian. Another peddler of bittersweet heartbeat. The boxer Simon and Garfunkel. A good friend of mine was laid to rest to this song last week. I cried as the hearse drove off to the last verse. I am leaving, but the fighter still remains. This song brings me to tears. Scarborough Fair Canticle is haunting. Scarborough Fair and Canticle were sung simultaneously to create this piece. So you have impossible tasks like asking for a shirt with no seams or needlework, interspersed with war imagery. That's because the narrator is deceased. Winter by Tori Amos. I saw an interview with her a few years ago. She was in maybe Prague in the winter with her husband and at the time young daughter. She turned around and saw her husband turn around and hold out his for their daughter to catch up. She said that brought the song full circle for her emotionally. When you gonna make up your mind? Little Earthquakes is one of my all-time favorite albums. It's just beautiful. Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce. This song is so haunting and beautiful and sad, and so is the story behind Jim and his death. He wrote this song after finding out he was going to have a son. The event must have filled him with so many emotions, but also the realization that these special moments are fleeting. The song began as basically a B-side and was not considered for radio play in favor of other songs of his. Not long after his son was born, Jim got tired of touring and being away from his family. One day he told his wife he was going to quit music so he could go back home to be with his family for good. But only days later, he died in a plane crash. He never got to have the family life he desperately wanted, never got to watch his son grow up, never got to see his wife again. Soon after his death, the song suddenly started to receive radio play due to the eerie parallels with what happened. The time in Jim Croce's bottle would be the few precious moments he got to spend with his loving wife and child, and he left this song for them and for us to remind us all of the impermanence of life and love. Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Pink Floyd. Song is written about Syd Barrett. Most of the Wish You Were album is about Syd and his mental decline. The lyrics are both sad and celebratory of a talent that could never reach its heights because of Syd's mental illness. Remember when you were young, you shone like the sun. Shine on you crazy diamond. Now there's a look in your eyes, like black holes in the sky. Shine on you crazy diamond. The lyrics are amazing, but the instrumentals are what really make it haunting. Such an ethereal, beautiful, trippy, sad song. Made even more haunting by the story of him wandering into the studio the day the band was recording the song. Wuthering Heights. This woman's work. Night of the Swallow, From the Dreaming. The Julian pipes, the way she's almost a cappella at the beginning of each verse. I listened to that song on repeat for about a month the first time I heard it, and it's still one of my favorite songs of hers. It's Army Dreamers that gets me. I was visiting Ireland from the US with my mom and I took her to Sunday services. A woman sang a cappella in a small stone church on the Dingle Peninsula. The verse was, "This is holy ground, this ground is holy, and I forget the rest." It was like listening to an angel, like it was pure golden light. She was just a woman singing in a church for Sunday Mass. I still remember, 20 years later. When I was a kid around 9/10, there was one song they played at Mass that went, "And he will raise you up on eagle's wings," and I was just stunned by it when I heard it. I asked my piano teacher if he knew it, and he actually was one of the pianists at the same church I went to sometimes, and he was able to get me a photocopy of the sheet music. I loved sitting in church, and when they would play that song I would pluck along with my fingers on my imaginary piano. I am very far from religious these days, but I'll never forget the way that song gave me chills as a kid. The woman who sang for Sunday Mass had this hauntingly high-pitched voice that always sent shivers down my spine. Only Time, Enya. Anything Enya. The songs Enya did for the LOTR soundtrack where she sings in Elvish. Caribbean Blue for me, but they're all Brill. Definitely my go-to for something peaceful and melodic when I've got the house to myself. Exit music for a film, Radiohead. I love that they wrote it for Romeo plus Juliet and decided it was too good for a soundtrack, so kept it for OK Computer. You can fill your boots with haunting, beautiful Radiohead songs. Motion picture soundtrack, How to Disappear Completely, videotape. Hard to pick a couple really. Whole albums fill the brief. You forgot to add Nude, True Love Waits, and Give Up the Ghost. Us and Them by Pink Floyd. This was my dad's funeral song, chosen by him. I've always thought this. Half of their repertoire is epic, but for me what really hits the hardest is Time. It breaks me. The guitar for this song is amazing. 10,000 Days Wings for Marie PT2 by Tool. It's a very bittersweet celebration of life and the finality of a journey Maynard went through in coming to terms with his mother's passing, but also her unwavering relationship with God and Catholicism. His mother had a stroke and lived the last 10,000 days of her life in pain, suffering. She was excommunicated from her church for not being able to attend after this crippling stroke. She was, as he says, the most pious and forgiving person. A lot of their music has themes against traditional religion, particularly Maynard's song Judith by his other band, A Perfect Circle, another song for his mom, Judith Marie, but also the first few Tool albums, specifically Opiate. Mocking people who blindly follow, mocking God and his unfairness. 10,000 Days really expresses so much understanding and acceptance for the unfair life she lived while still celebrating his mom and everything she was so good for. It really is such a beautiful song. It's celebratory, grand, mournful, but also feels so final and fulfilling. A spiritual and grief-filled journey finally has a bittersweet ending. The song is a rarity for me, it really does make me cry every time. Ave Maria. Nearly any rendition, but honestly I love Aaron Neville's the most. I love Chris Cornell's version. Another vote for Ave Maria. Aaron Neville could sing the phone book, and it would be a religious experience. Met him a few times. A very humble, kind, gentle soul. Wicked Game by Chris Isaak. Tenacious D has a shortened version which is really great. Unbelievably haunting song, sung by Chris Isaak. The steel guitar really helps in the haunting beauty of it. Others that I really admire have played this song without the steel guitar, it's just not the same. Nothing Compares to You, by Sinead O'Connor, may she rest in peace. Can I just put in a vote that Sinead O'Connor herself is hauntingly beautiful? She was so ethereally beautiful in the video for Nothing Compares to You, and the style of the video was so unique in comparison to the work of her contemporaries. IMHO it still is today. Her expressions and voice perfectly communicated the absolute melancholy of the lyrics. There were no distractions in that video. She was truly mesmerizing. Black Boys on Mopeds is gut-wrenching. Troy just kills me. Sinead had one of the best voices in popular music. Has nobody said the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald yet? Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? Yeah, hauntingly beautiful indeed. I live in southern Wisconsin, so I make the trip up to the big lake every couple years. Driving the lakeshore road, listening to this song as the waves crash onto the beach, it's almost a spiritual experience. Not even close to Lightfoot's best. Check out If You Could Read My Mind. Those lyrics should be in every tutorial showing high school kids how to write a 1,000-word essay when you only have 100 words worth of material. Which answer do you agree with, or do you have a different opinion? Please comment below the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.